It's NFL schedule release day. One of my favorite days of the year. I said that last year. But today, it's time to talk about the future. You got to see me react to the 2025 schedule last season, and now you get to see me react to the 2026 schedule. We know who the Bears are going to be playing. We've known that since the end of Week 18. We've known who the Bears will be playing in 2026. Now we get to see when and if it's any sort of special occasion. Now, there is something I do need to put out, and I did see this. The Bears are playing in Detroit on Thanksgiving. I did see that. I have not seen anything else regarding the Bears' schedule. The international schedule came out, and that proved my prediction about them going to Madrid wrong. As you see the bottom row there, you're on my spreadsheet. That is the schedule that I predicted that they would have. So I actually got one right this year. I got Thanksgiving in Detroit right. I did see that was going to happen. It's in Week 12 this year. So we'll see. The one game I did get right last year was their Week 18 game at home against Detroit. That was it. So let's see if I get anything else. Last year, before the schedule came out, we knew that the Bears were playing on Black Friday and that they were playing Week 16 against the Packers. That was it. There might have been another reveal before the schedule release dropped, but I was busy. I couldn't be, on Twitter all day long. So we're going to get into it now. It's been, we'll get to what you're here for. So yeah, here's a couple of predictions. I know that this is wrong too. I know that I had predicted them to go to Seattle, and that's what it looked like it was going to be for a long time, that the Bears are going to be kicking off the season Wednesday night in Seattle for their banner raising. I thought it was set in stone, and I was like, yeah, they probably could go with the Super Bowl rematch with the Patriots, but I didn't know if they actually really wanted to do it, right? Turns out they wanted to do it. So it's Seahawks-Patriots, Week 1. That's kickoff Wednesday, because it's a Wednesday this year because they're playing a game in Australia. Anyways, let's get on to the schedule. The Bears' schedule. Preseason, I don't know any of this either. So preseason, at home against the Cleveland Browns, at the Cincinnati Bengals, and at the Tennessee Titans. All right, that's usually how it goes in the preseason. You're playing teams in the AFC. That's usually how it goes. Rarely are you playing a team that you're playing in the regular season in the preseason. All right, Week 1, the Bears open up on the road against the Carolina Panthers. I did see this leak going around, and I wasn't sure if I was to believe it, but it sounded like a lot of people were saying it was true. Turns out it is true. The Bears will open the season on the road in Charlotte against Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. I really thought that this was going to be a game that they were going to put in prime time somewhere in the middle of the season. You have so many built-in storylines with the trade, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young. You have so many built-in storylines with that specific trade. But they decide to go with the Week 1 angle with this instead, which also is fine. But it's also going to be a noon kick. Noon Central kick, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Mountain. I might as well hit all four time zones. Interesting. They go, if they were going to do this, I was really thinking they might have gone with the late window. But they do not. They go with the early window. All right, that's going to be on Fox. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this again. I did this last time. I'm displaying morning because that's how it is where I live. I live on the Pacific Coast, so those games actually do start in the morning as opposed to noon right in the afternoon. Plus, it will be a better way to, just differentiate. You know what? I'll just go early and late. There, we'll do that. Make it simple for everybody. Early window, late window, and then any primetime games, we'll do that, right? Week 2. Also, in the early window on September 20th, at home against the Vikings. Oh, I thought I was so close. I did it Week 3. Oh, so close. They decide to have the Vikings and the Bears play in Chicago early again, but not the opener. All right. I don't hate the early division game. I'll get a home game. That's the home opener again. Don't hate it. But you know what? Actually, the biggest surprise, as I'm going back to Week 1 just for a quick moment, I was really convinced that the Bears were either going to Seattle to play the Seahawks to open the season, or they were going to be playing the Green Bay Packers. I really felt like the NFL was going to really want the Bears-Packers opener, but they've done that quite a bit recently. They did that twice in a row. No, they did that in 2023. They did not do that in 2022 or 2024, though they did have a Week 2 game in 2022. But they have done the Week 1 angle a couple of times. They had Week 1 back-to-back in 2018 and 2019 for the 100th year of the Packers and the 100th year of the Bears, which made sense. So I feel like this is a good draw as well. Early window. I don't hate that. Though it's been a while since the Bears have had to go on the road in the early window to open the season. I don't really remember the last time that happened. So maybe I'll look that up later. But enough. Let's move on with the rest of this. Monday night. Oh boy. Monday night, Week 3, September 28th. At home against the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh boy. All right, we're getting a home. All right, there's the first primetime game of the year. What did I have here? 4 primetime games and then 2 other games as well. So 6 games where the Bears were the only team, where the Bears game was the only game on. All right, that's the first. At home against the Eagles. Makes sense. It makes sense why you do that. They played a really high stakes game on Black Friday last year. It was a pretty big win for the Bears there. Yeah, all right. Week 4. This is an early window. At home against the New York Jets. All right, I don't hate that. I would have loved to get this game later in the season in case they needed, I guess not. I don't want to say a tune-up game, even though it probably will end up being that way. I mean, you looked how the Jets played in December last year. That was some of the worst football I've ever seen. They get the Jets early. They probably want to capitalize on the Aaron Glenn versus Ben Johnson storyline early and not make it some sort of, or not have the game basically mean nothing late in the year if one or both of these teams either make or miss the playoffs. I mean, who's picking the Jets to get to the playoffs this year? I'm going to be honest. Week 5. Oh, all right. You know what? I don't hate this. Week 5 is the Bears-Packers game in Lambeau. It's in the late window. I don't hate this. The Bears go to Lambeau early. Oh, I'm just happy that they didn't force both of these games in the last month of the season. Man, playing those 3 games happening 3 times in the span of like 35 days or whatever it was just pure torture to have to go through. Like, I know the Bears won the 2 more meaningful games and everything, but just the stress of late season Bears-Packers games was just, man, and all 3 of those games meant so much too. I was just not looking forward to having to do that again this year. I'm happy that they get one of these games earlier in the year. It's in mid-October. It'll be a good game. I'm not going to say it's not, like, it's still going to be a really fun game because it's Bears-Packers and it's in Lambeau. I'm just surprised that if this, again, I'm surprised it's not a primetime game. Because the primetime games that Bears-Packers have had for God knows how long have all been in Lambeau. You go back to like 2012, like 2013, you look at every primetime game that these 2 teams have played, it's been in Lambeau. So I'm surprised because clearly the other game's going to be primetime. I mean, like, there's no way that they're going to do what they did last year and have both games be on Fox. That's not going to happen again. Week 6, early window at the Atlanta Falcons. So I did get this right, actually. I did get the Bears and the Falcons week 6, but I didn't call. I called it being in Madrid. I am wrong in that assumption. So, all right, but I still got the week right. All right, I'm going to count that as a win. That'll be interesting. An early season game against an NFC South team. That's the first. Actually, they're going to get both their road games against the NFC South out early. Hang on, I'm just noticing this. The Bears are playing 3 games in a row at home. My mind is spinning right now, by the way. Sorry if I'm going really fast right now. They're playing 3 games in a row at home? All right. But I mean, I know that they get the extra game. That's the thing. They get the extra game at home, but do I want to stockpile them early, 3 of their first 4 at home? We'll see how it works out. We'll see how it works out. Week 7, Thursday night game. They get an actual Thursday night game this year as opposed to they played Black Friday. That was the closest they got. Oh, home against the New England Patriots. Oh, Prime, you struck gold there. Prime, pulling through with the big time game. Ooh, a lot of storylines there. Drake May, Caleb Williams, 2 teams on the rise. Both teams went from worst to first in their division. Ooh. Prime Video got a good one, week 7. All right, they get that home game. All right, that'll be fun. They'll get a mini bye. That's the more important question to me. Who are they playing out of the mini bye? It's a Monday. They're getting the full thing. They're pretty much getting a bye week. It's Monday night, week 8, and they got to go to Seattle. They play the 2 Super Bowl teams back to back. Thank goodness it's basically a full bye week in between, but they're both in prime time. Oh, just wonderful. Oh, no. Oh, that's 3 primetime games in the first 8 weeks. And they're all high-profile games. So they've got 4 high-stakes games and 4 early window games. I'm going to have to really enjoy those games against the Jets and the Falcons that aren't going to be really in the spot where they're in front of the national stage or one of the more important games of the slate. Ugh. All right, I'm going to have to really enjoy those, the front half. But this means that they don't have a super early bye this year, and I'm actually really happy about that. I'd like their bye to probably be 9, 10, or maybe even 11. I would take a bye in between week 10 and Thanksgiving. I would take that. Week 9, Sunday night? Dude, they're playing 3 primetime games in a row at home against Tampa. 3 primetime games in a row. Are you serious? And they hit the trifecta. Thursday, Monday, and Sunday. Dude. By the time they play another game that's not on prime... that's October 18th is when they play the Falcons. Week 10 is the bye week. Okay, week 10 is the bye week. So they put the Bears in a ton of pressure. Man, 4 primetime games in their first 9. 4 in their first half. Oh, man, they're stockpiling them early. Dude. What is this? Okay, well, here's the thing. All right, week 10 bye. I actually really like this. That's spot square in the middle of the schedule. I don't hate this. So I that's probably the ideal bye week, 9 through 11. That's probably where you want to have it. Anything before or anything after week 8 is probably a pretty good bye. The week 5 bye is just a death sentence. I mean, the Bears had the week 5 bye last year, but I don't want that again. I don't want that again with the injuries they had last year. I don't know how they won a playoff game last year. I'm sorry. I know that there was all the heroics, Iceman, everything. It was so much fun, and it was. I don't know how it happened. With all the injuries they had, they continue to deal. You know what? That's last year. Let's look at the schedule this year. Week 11, they're coming back against the New Orleans Saints. All right. I would have liked the team that they play coming off the bye to be a bit tougher, just for the fact that they're going to get an extra week to prepare for them. But at the same time, you kind of get I wouldn't even call the Saints like a super easy layup. The Jets are the easiest team on the schedule, along with the Dolphins. the Saints had a very sneakily good end to last season. The NFC South had a sneakily good end to last season. I mean, the Falcons are unbeatable post-elimination. The Saints had a really good way to end the year. So, week 11 this time. All right. By the time that they play a game not on primetime, it's going to be a month. They're going to have a month in between non-primetime games. Because that game against Atlanta is October 18th. The game against New Orleans is November 22nd. And then they're right back to being in front of the nation because week 12 is Thanksgiving, and that's Detroit. Oh, just wonderful. It's like a tradition. The Bears play in Detroit on Thanksgiving all the time. That happens super often. But I was surprised that it didn't happen last year a little bit. But at the same time, it made sense because they played in 2024. All right, sure. Why not play in 2026? All right, let's keep it going. Week 13. I'm just biting my tongue to find out when the next Packer game is. So what? What's left on the schedule? What left have we not gotten real quick before we go after Thanksgiving? Miami. They get a late season game in Miami. They don't have to go to Florida early year. I actually like that. That's actually kind of nice. Okay, so they got to go to Miami with the 7 games left. Miami, home against the Packers. On the road against Buffalo. They're going to have to do that late this year. Jacksonville, on the road against Minnesota. Home against Detroit. That's it. So they got 2 divisional games, 3 games against AFC teams, and No, it's 3 divisional games and 3 games against AFC teams. Sorry, my brain. All right. Week 13, Jacksonville. All right. They get the Jags later this season in Soldier Field. All right. That'll be a fun game. That'll be a fun one. The Jags did not get to play in Chicago the last time they were scheduled 2 years ago. Fortunately, with the bonus game that they added and the way that worked out, the Bears and Jags actually do get to play in Soldier Field this time around and not have to go play in London, which I was not happy that they had to play Jacksonville in London. I mean, it was Caleb's first really good performance. It was when he threw 4 touchdowns, but Jacksonville's a much different team this time around. They won't be a pushover, I don't think. We'll see. I mean, anything can happen by week 13, and that's when you get to December football. Jacksonville does have to come up to Chicago, though. They do have to play a game in Chicago. That is going to be important to note. Week 14, another early window. So I actually will say, as we get here, that they're giving the Bears a lot of early windows. If they're not playing on prime time, they're playing early window games. I will say that. That's kind of nice. At the Miami Dolphins. All right, so they go with the 2 Florida teams right out of Thanksgiving. All right, early window. That'll be on CBS. Hard Rock Stadium. First time they play there since 2018, just like it will be with Buffalo later. But this is going to be... They're going to have to play a really late game against the Buffalo Bills. They're going to have to... It's not nearly as bad as if they played South, but, they have to go play in Buffalo, which is, it's Buffalo. Week 15, Saturday. They're playing a Saturday game? Saturday night. It's a Saturday night game. Is this Buffalo? That is Buffalo. It is Buffalo. They play Saturday night. I knew that game was going to be, singled out. I had a feeling that one was going to be singled out. All right, they're playing on a Saturday. I don't hate that. All right, whatever. You know what? They dodged the really, really bad schedule, the screwy scheduling, because Netflix got a Thanksgiving Eve game on a Wednesday. The Packers and Rams are playing that. Both teams are going to hate that. That's going to be terrible for those 2 organizations to have to go play a game on Sunday, and then the next week you get 2 days off before you're playing on Wednesday. That is stupid. Really dumb. And it's going to backfire. I really do think it's going to backfire. That's not going to be a great game, even though both those teams should be very competitive in the NFC next year. I don't think that game specifically is going to be really good because both teams will have played a game 2 days prior. Enough about that. Week 16. Christmas at home against the Packers. They're playing on Christmas against Green Bay. Oh, wonderful. I'm not... They have to play on both Thanksgiving and Christmas. Thanksgiving and Christmas. Week 16 is their home game against the Packers again. Dude, they gotta... It's on Netflix. Come on. You gotta play a game on Netflix? Ew. The Packers gotta play 2 games on Netflix. Ew. Oh, nuh-uh. But, actually, hang on. That's the early game on Christmas. That's not a night game. That's early. I'm just seeing that. That's a noon Central start. You know what? Okay. As long as I don't have to play Christmas night. Good Lord. That would be the worst. Christmas night, having to stress through a Bears-Packers game with family and everything. That's more why I was not happy with that initially, because I thought that was going to be the night game. But no, it's actually the earlier game. Fine. You know, it doesn't ruin the dinner, right? So, all right, we're good. We're fine with that. Sure. All right, Sunday, it's a late window game. All right, now they're stockpiling, late window games again. And oh, okay, at home against the Lions. Yep, late window. That makes sense. All right. Late window, and that means that they end the season in Minnesota. So I got the Week 18 game again, and they're going back to Minnesota. Back to the well. How many times have the Bears gone to Minnesota to end the season in the last 10 years? Probably 6 or 7 times. So they're going to go do that again. I'm just realizing this now. It's 3 division games to end the season. Oh my God. All right, you know what? Could be worse. They get 2 divisional games early-ish. Early. They get 2 division games in the first 5 weeks. Sure, I'm fine with that. All right. I don't hate this. It's 4 primetime games. All right, so that's 4 primetime games. Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. 2 Monday nights, a Sunday night, and a Thursday night. They'd play Thanksgiving. They'd play Christmas. And they got a Saturday night game. So that's 7 of their 17 games where the Bears game is the only game on. 7 games where they're in an isolated time slot. Could be 8 depending on how Week 18 turns out. We have no idea how that's going to show up. They could be playing on that Saturday or the Sunday night. Who knows? But yeah. Interesting. I will say, again, this is, I think, what makes me happy about this. I was fully expecting them to play probably 5 games in the early slate. I was expecting to see a lot of games that were going to be forced into the late window because the Bears were playing, right? But that's not the case. It looks like they got the early window, what was that, 7 times? So, I don't hate it. Early window 7 times, late window twice, and then 7 games where the Bears are the only team playing when they play. Okay, that's more than I thought they were going to get. Okay. Well, there you have it. There is the Bears' 2026 schedule. On the road against Carolina, then 3 straight home games against the Vikings, Eagles, and Jets. Back-to-back road games against the Packers and Falcons. Return home on a short week to play the Patriots, then travel on a mini bye out to Seattle. I will say, if they were going to have a mini bye, Seattle's probably a good team to go out and play after a mini bye. I don't hate that. I don't like the fact that they're going to have to play the Patriots, the other team that starts with a P, on a short week. And then Sunday night at home against the Bucks, they get the Saints out of the bye. They play on the road in Detroit on Thanksgiving. Come back home to play the Jaguars. Back-to-back road games against the Dolphins. And then the Bills. They play on a short week on Saturday. Play on a Friday against the Packers. So they play on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday, and a Monday. The Packers, actually, no, I don't know if they play on Saturday. But if the Packers play on a Saturday, they'll play on the Wednesday, Thursday, or actually, I don't know if they play on a Thursday either. Why am I saying anything? They're playing on a Friday and a Sunday. Wednesday, a Friday, and a Sunday, I know that. Probably a Monday as well. Then you get the Lions at home, and then you finish in Minnesota. Though I will say, if they're going to have 3 games against divisional opponents to end the season, I'm glad that they get 2 of them at home. All right. I actually got 1 game right outside of the Week 18 game. I got the Week 18 game right for a second consecutive year, but actually, yeah. And I did put together the, I did put my predictions together before today when they announced the Bears-Lions game on Thanksgiving. So I actually got 3 games right this year. That's actually really crazy. I almost got a 4th one. I was 1 off for the Vikings. 1 off. But yeah, there you go. There's the Bears schedule. What do you think? Did the Bears get a bad draw? They got the toughest schedule in the league. And when you look on the 20-25 win percentage, they got the toughest schedule in the league. And they're not gonna get any favors. The Bears are gonna be playing on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a Monday. So they're gonna have to get comfortable with, especially late this year, man. Their last 7 games consist of a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday game. Ooh. And then they have 2 Monday games and another third. I mean, if they're going to do this, the NFL is throwing them a bone by giving them the mini bye in between that Thursday and Monday game. That is actually kind of huge. If they're going to have these unorthodox games, and if the schedule is not going to be very Sunday heavy. All right. Well, that's about it. What do you think about the Bears' schedule? What are your initial predictions now that you know the order that they will play in and the fact that they're going to have several short weeks? What do you think the Bears' record is? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think the Bears got a favorable draw with their opponents, or do you think that they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot late, and that those late tough games are going to matter a lot more than you think? Who knows? I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. Well, that's all from me. I'm looking forward to this. There's a little bit of a balance. It is late heavy, though. The Dolphins game has to be a win. I'll say that right now as my parting comment. Those Saints and Dolphins games post-bye have to be wins with the rest of the schedule and those other 6 games that they'll play after the bye. Those have to be wins because you're not going to get really any breathing room outside of that. Anyways, that's it for me. You'll know my full schedule prediction, when we do division previews in August and everything, and we kind of get a better feel of who's making the team from across the league. Anyways, that's it for me. Hit the like button if you like to, hit the subscribe button if you really like to. Keep the conversation in the comments section below. Again, let me know what you think the Bears' record's going to be this season. Are they repeating as NFC North champions? It's a tough ask. That's a really tough division. It's going to be the black and blue division is really back. It's back, man. It's going to be a 3-team race. Sorry, Vikings. It's going to be a 3-team race. Yeah. I will see you all in the next one. Bear down.